I'll tell you what, here's the thing. When it comes down to a rock fight kind of basketball game, give me Coach Sampson any day of the week. If it can't be my team, give me Coach Sampson.
Yeah.
Because Houston, the last couple years, has won just playing insanely amazing defense and gain enough points to win. Not like Iowa State the first year at TJ where you didn't score 49 and that was good enough to win. Those are super stressful. But Houston has found a way to shoot.
Welcome back to another episode of Talkin' Loss. I'll be your host today, James, here with Zach, and our fill-in, Mr. Muffin, who talks about as much as Silas does. So.
How you doing today? Good?
Quiet today.
Very quiet.
Well, we'll get going on a little recap here. We thankfully have our producer here to interject and give us a little kicking.
Okay, so you want the first game?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do the BYU Alabama.
Lived up to the hype. Silas thought it was going to be low scoring. No, it exceeded.
I mean, I think we all thought it was going to be either 70s or 80s or like 100 something.
And that's what we got.
Yep. I mean, I was disappointed because I had Alabama going, or I had BYU going as Final Four, so that kind of wrecked mine.
We had 3 out of 4 Final Four teams for the Big 12. That's fine. But I mean, Alabama, new record, 25 3-pointers in that contest. I'm just going to ask all the BYU fans, if any of you are watching this, how's it feel now to have a team shoot lights out from 3 and you still hit a ton of threes and lose? Just a big Iowa State fan, it's fine.
All I'm saying is they only actually had 6 threes. They went 6 for 30. BYU did.
See, you're kind of worried about the Fred Hoiberg effect.
Yeah.
How long can you shoot threes before you finally go cold? And they still scored 88.
Yeah, field goal percentage.
Alabama doesn't play defense.
They were 45%. They went 33 for 72. Alabama went 35 for 66. So they shot good just from the floor.
They are north of 50% for Alabama.
Yeah, 49% from threes. They went 25 for 51, which is just astounding to me that you get 51 3-pointers up in a 40-minute game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's plus you add in your field goals in there. I mean, they were hitting one. I mean, you have to hit more than one a minute, right? Or one every, whatever, less than a minute.
Yeah.
But that's not including your other points you made.
Well, here's the crazy thing. I saw this the day after. If you put in the 25 3-pointers that Bama made plus their free throws, they still would have beaten BYU and they would have had to score a 2-point field goal at all.
It's just astounding.
I mean,
really?
Both teams played well. BYU's going to depend on who they bring back. They got the number 1 player in the country coming to Provo next year. They're going to contend again in the Big 12 next year. So
I mean, really, you look across the stats, the rest of that rebounds, Alabama only had 1 more. Offensive rebounds, BYU had 3 more. Defensive rebounds, Alabama only had 4 more. I mean, so it's like, really, across the rest of those stat lines, BYU doesn't look bad.
No.
It's just your shooting percentage. You just got way outplayed.
And you don't play defense. Fred Hoiberg's team didn't play defense, and Nate Oates and Alabama don't play defense, but they can outscore you.
Yep.
When you come across a team that plays defense, though, that's when you run into trouble.
Yeah, which they did, but we'll get there.
No, not there yet. All right. What we got? What's the next one, Meg?
Okay, next one is Maryland and Florida.
Snooze fest, honestly. Florida just did what Florida's been doing for the most part. They just controlled the game. Good offensive rebounding.
Early on, I thought the Terps were going to do something.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do more than they did. I think Florida just kind of wore them out. Again, Florida went 30 for 60 on field goals.
50%.
They shot good from the floor.
They had they had 29 points from their bench.
That's astounding.
That's great. I mean, dude, Walter Clayton's kind of in the talk of the tournament. He might be tournament MVP if Florida wins the whole thing. He only had 13. That's it. Yeah. But 29 from your bench, that is really hard to overcome if you're Maryland. Maryland had 3 points off their bench.
I mean, Alabama had one guy who had 24 off the bench, 23 off the bench. So, I mean, it's awesome. Like Holloway. He had 23 off the bench.
I mean, we're used to it as Iowa State fans at Curtis the past couple of years, but yeah.
No, I mean, really, Florida across the board, why they won is because they were so balanced. Because you got 10, 13, 6, 14, 15, 12, 13, a couple guys with 2. I mean, so really across the board, you got 7 guys who are scoring double digits.
You can't take away one guy because someone else is just going to step up anyway. So, yeah.
No, I mean, that really, it looks good. That's how you have to win these kind of games, especially as you get late into the tournament, is you can't be one guy dependent. You know, you get shut down way too quick on things.
Yeah, I'll bring that up in a little bit about the Final Four, but what's the next one, Meg?
Okay, the next 3 have Arizona and Duke. Nice scoring.
Caleb Love did his best to win this thing for Arizona.
Yep.
But
it was a fun game to watch. I really enjoyed it. But, yeah, it was – I mean, Love had 35 points.
Played all 40 minutes, too.
Yeah.
Yep. No, he'll either win you a game or lose you a game because he's a volume shooter.
Yep.
And his volume shooting was great for that time, but Cooper Flagg, 30 points.
I know.
Guy's incredible. One of the maybe the best freshman season we've ever seen, potentially. Except for Derrick Rose.
I don't know what that season looked like as far as what his stats were and things like that. I mean, in my era and my time of watching it and that, I would say this is probably the best performance I've seen.
It's up there for sure. But yeah, no, close game all the way. Lots of fun, but
it's really interesting because you compare it to like Florida's stat line. Duke has a guy with 30, 16, 20, and 13. Those are your starters. You have very little bench points. Arizona has a guy with
Bradley
2.
had 15. That's pretty average for him. And then 5, 6, 2. You had good points off your bench, though, if you're Arizona. 13, 8, 6, and 3.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm just amazed by Cooper Flagg. 9 for 19 from field goals, 3 for 5 from three-point land, 9 for 10 from his free throws, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Kid's incredible.
Yeah.
Best player to come out of the state of Maine ever.
He's fun to watch. I mean, I thought Arizona had a chance to match up pretty well against him.
Yeah.
But it came down to you can't have one guy win you the game. I mean, like you said, Love tried.
He tried. Credit to that guy. He did a great job.
But just at the end of the game, you got to have more than one guy putting up 35 points. You got to have a guy in there that's putting up another 15
and 20. It can help once
20
in a while. Once you get to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, it ain't going to happen. So it's not very often it won't.
Good run for Arizona. I mean, impressive what they did.
Tommy Lloyd's a great coach. He'll have him back again next year.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be just fine. Now, I can't wait to talk about this one. Right,
yeah.
Go ahead, Meg.
Arkansas, Texas Tech, an overtime.
Yeah.
What a great
This was a fun game.
Good for the good guys. Us Big 12 fans, obviously. Man, I was reading tweets. 4 minutes left to go in the ball game from Arkansas fans saying, "Thanks for coming out, Texas Tech."
Wow.
Tech, that's why you love March Madness. They storm back, tie the game up, goes to overtime, tied 83-83, and then Darian Williams just doing what he's been doing all tournament long. He is stronger than you. He's not the tallest, but he's stronger than you, and he can finish around the rim. Puts it in, and weird thing was that you have, how long? What, you have 6 seconds left in the game? Calipari has a timeout, but decides not to use it.
Yeah.
Maybe you get across half court. You have 6 seconds. Get across half court, set something up in the front court for yourself. But he decided to, Coach Cal's a good coach for a reason, but he said, let us guys go. And it didn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know if things change if you call that timeout, if you get things set up. I don't know.
It's all hearsay now, but
this is what's kind of fun to me is we're talking about like field goal percentages and just things like that. I mean, you got Tech and Arkansas both shooting about 41% from field. But you've got what, two more 3-pointers on the Arkansas side, 10 instead of 8. They both shot. I mean, Texas Tech shot terribly from 3-point. I mean, they were shooting 25%.
They are the worst 3-point shooting team in the Big 12.
Free throws. Arkansas had 19 made free throws.
Only 9
compared to 9. Now they both shot well. I mean, it was 9 for 11 and 19 for 22.
So much more, double what Tech did.
Yeah.
And then turnovers are similar.
But then here's where it makes a difference. 22 offensive rebounds for Texas Tech.
Yep.
11 for Arkansas. 29 defensive for Tech. 28 for Arkansas.
Yeah.
Those offensive rebounds are what made the difference in that game.
Yep. Well, when you have a guy like Darren Williams and JT Toppin, Big 12 Player of the Year and Newcomer of the Year, it makes a difference. And you see that with the points too.
But otherwise,
Williams had 20. JT Toppin had 20. 9 rebounds for Toppin. 9 rebounds for Williams.
Yep. No, they're very complementary to each other. But it was. I think this has been one of the funnest games.
Oh,
really,
100%.
Most of Arkansas's games have been the funnest ones to watch.
Well, let's start with Kansas, and then they had St. John's.
Yeah.
And then this one. I mean, I will admit, I poo-pooed on John Calipari. I said it. I poo-pooed on John Calipari when he went to Fayetteville. And I've got a cousin-in-law down there who's a huge Razorbacks fan. Just loves them. And I asked him about it during a baseball game we went to in Kansas City. And the feeling around Arkansas was that they were excited. It's something new. They've really struggled in basketball for quite a while. He brings something new. They have the guy who runs the Tysons, the chicken nugget people or whatever. Okay. He's their biggest donor down there. Plus, you got the Walmart people down there. So plenty of money.
Yep.
Just never been able to put it together. Well, Calipari knows how to work with money, and he knows how to get NBA prospects. Not necessarily the best success in the tournament the past 6-7 years, but he knows how to draw a crowd. And he knows how to get the most out of players, at least for a year, before they go to the NBA.
Yeah.
You can't really win that way. You need to have guys who've been in the program consistently. It doesn't work very often. But he was excited. And I thought, okay, Arkansas is going to struggle the whole year because Calipari's kind of out of touch. It's a whole new era kind of deal, and he just won't adjust. And that's the way they look. The first 3 quarters of the year, Arkansas is not even close. They go on a little bit of a run, get in the tournament as a 10 seed, and, hey, I will say they exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
So they should be excited for next year to see what they can do.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a Sweet 16 run on a year like they've had. New coach, all that you're saying. That's I mean, that's an impressive run. I mean, that's like Iowa State doing it with their worst record ever and then moving it back. I mean, it's just one of those things where sometimes it's just it's the right guy at the right time. So
yeah.
No, that was a fun game. I really enjoyed that
best game on Thursday for sure. So, all right, Meg, okay. Friday.
Okay, we had Ole Miss and Michigan State.
Ole Miss and Michigan State. Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss. I thought Chris Beard was going to pull it out.
I know.
I really did.
I got really nervous there towards the end. But again, we're looking at percentages here. Free throws: 9 for 10 for Ole Miss, 19 for 22 for Michigan State.
Yeah, huge discrepancy there.
Now, offensive rebounds, Michigan State had 5. I mean, that's not good.
No.
So you win in a game, I mean, without those offensive rebounds, that's impressive. But, boy, I would have been a little fired up if that was the stat out of there because that's...
Michigan State had 4 more turnovers. Not terrible as far as discrepancy or anything. No. Now, if it was, if they had turned the ball over 15 and Ole Miss turned over 3, that'd be different. But yeah, the personal fouls, a lot more personal fouls.
There was a lot of fouls called in that game.
I think the SEC is a pretty rough conference to a certain extent. And the Big 12 is too.
But I just felt like there was that one point in that game where it was like 3 or 4 fouls called in one possession, it felt like.
I wonder what year Padula's in. That point guard. He's really good.
He's good. Yeah. Well, that was like when Iowa State was playing Ole Miss. I knew we had to shut down Padula because not only can he shoot, but he funnels the offense.
Yes, he does.
And so if you don't shut that kind of guy down, then you just don't get them out of their groove. You got to get that guy who's their groove, who's their feeder, all that.
Yeah.
You've got to get him out of sorts. Iowa State didn't do it. Michigan State struggled to do it. They did at times.
They found a way to move. And the thing is, that's where you miss Keyshawn Gilbert and his defense. So that's okay. So,
but I mean, Padula still scored 24 in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's them winning this game.
Hopefully, Coach Beard could get him back for next year.
Yeah.
So
them winning this game is all. I don't know. I mean, it just came down to those last few seconds. And
yeah,
it was, are you going to make the shot or are you not? It was fun. I enjoyed that game quite a bit.
Yeah, the Sweet 16 had either awesome game or it's kind of a snooze fest kind of game.
Yep.
So what's the next one you got, Meg?
Okay, next we have Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yeah, rematch there for the third time, and Tennessee cruised the whole way.
The whole time.
Not really. I really didn't watch much of that one. It was, just not much going on.
I kept an eye on the score, but it wasn't something. I think I had it on, but I was sideways watching it. You know, I mean, it's like out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah, just background noise at that point. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of those things where I don't know. It didn't ever feel like Kentucky ever really had a chance of even coming back in that game.
No, Rick Barnes has done such a good job at Tennessee. When he got fired at Texas, I thought it was unwarranted all those years ago. Goes to Tennessee. He's really made something out of him. When Bruce Pearl got fired from Tennessee years ago, Bruce he was gone for 4 or 5 years. Goes to Auburn. Look what he's doing with Auburn now. So it's worked out for both gentlemen, I'd say.
I mean, Tennessee, they're starting. You had 17 points, 4, 8, 16, or 18. The bench points, you had 5, 16, 2. So
yeah. Yeah, 8. Yeah, Tennessee had 23 off the bench.
Yeah, and Kentucky only had 6.
Yeah.
So that's.
I still think Mark Pope is going to do well down there. He was he was on the national championship team, and Kentucky won in 96. So left BYU, came to Kentucky. Left BYU, came to Kentucky, and I think he's going to do just fine down there.
Yep.
So yeah. Sweet 16 is not that bad. That should be the floor.
Yep.
If you're a blue blood like a Kentucky, a Duke, a North Carolina. You know, and he hit the floor for his first year, so he can do it his second year. So, yeah. Like I said, not very interesting.
Nope.
What's the next one, Meg?
Okay, Michigan and Auburn.
Another snooze
fest.
Michigan had it. Michigan was hanging for a minute, and then Auburn just Auburn things.
Yeah, early on I was watching that game, and I was like, oh, this could be a pretty good game. Yeah. And then it just slowly started to build and get further and further and further. And I don't know, I was only half paying attention to it by the end of the game.
Right.
I was like, yeah, they won, all right.
Yeah, I mean, neither team shot particularly well.
No.
But, I mean...
Yeah, you're from the floor, you're 39 and 35%.
Yeah, it was like...
I mean, 3-pointers. You have 5 made for Michigan. You got 8 for Auburn. I mean, this nothing.
No.
Free throws, you got 14 and 18. Auburn had 48 rebounds. 19 of them offensively. I mean, really, the stat lines aren't all that much different. It's just... I mean, they had, 7 more field goals made, 3 more 3-pointers, and they actually had 4 less free throws than Michigan. But it's just, I don't know. It didn't feel that bad.
No.
It felt a lot more like a lopsided game, but that's really, I mean, they both had 15 turnovers, 9 and 8 steals. I mean, so you really, when you look at the stat line, you would say this was almost a tied game.
Yeah, no, like I said, not interesting really at all. I kept an eye on it, but I was more looking forward to the Houston-Purdue game just because I'm invested in the Big 12. I want my conference to do well, and I like Coach Sampson a lot. I liked him when he was at Oklahoma, when Blake Griffin was there. I liked him when he was at Houston, and I'm so glad that we got him to the Big 12. So,
man, I will say for Auburn, Pettiford had 20 off the bench.
Who did?
Pettiford.
Oh, okay.
Broom had 22.
Oh, Janai Broom,
the
6th-year senior. Won't see him again. At least not Auburn.
Fine by me, but
I have nothing against you.
I have nothing against him, but just once Iowa State, that once they beat Iowa State, then you just pick that one guy and you're like,
that's Janai Broom. All right,
ready?
Yeah,
okay,
this is the
Purdue
one
and
I really
Houston.
liked. Is that the greatest inbounds play of all time?
It might have been. That was
what a drawn up play. 60-60. You got 1.7 seconds left.
Yeah.
Yeah. You throw the ball from the baseline. Who thinks to guard the guy that's coming from out of bounds back in? Just pushes it back to a layup with 0.8 seconds left.
Yep. It was awesome.
It was fantastic.
Again, very even game. 23
Yep.
for 61 on the Houston side for field goals, 21 for 52 for Purdue, 8 for 27 3-pointers, 9 for 23 for Houston. I mean, so really percentage shooting, it was not a great game. I mean, and that shows in the score, 60-62. It's pretty ugly game shooting. Free throws, they both had very few. There just wasn't a lot of shooting fouls in that game. Rebounding
Very
was
physical.
Yeah, dead even rebounding on your defensive rebounds. Houston had almost twice as many or over twice as many offensive rebounds. But otherwise, I mean, it's very even across the board there.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. It's a pretty low score game. Is it because of the defense or their shooting was off?
Two things. Really good defense.
Because I didn't watch the game, so I have no idea.
It was
really,
awesome.
really good
Sounds
defense.
good, but-
Really good defense. And then the fouls. You have 14 fouls for Houston. You have 13 for Purdue. So there was very few. It was a physical game. It was a defensive game. And it was just hard fought. And so you're going to have a low scoring game because of that. You're not sending guys to the line. You're not getting free points. You have 7 turnovers total for both teams. You have four. You have
Took
four.
care of the ball very well.
4 steals for both teams. So it was long possessions. It was slow basketball, but that's how both these teams play. They want to play slow basketball, walk it up the court, just milk the clock, take the time off, and just make it come down to the last second play because
So like a very well matched team.
Oh yeah.
Matt Painter will be a Hall of Famer one day for Purdue, and Coach Sampson's already a Hall of Famer. He's looking for that very first national title this year. And I'll tell you what, here's the thing. When it comes down to a rock fight kind of basketball game, give me Coach Sampson any day of the week. If it can't be my team, give me Coach Sampson.
Yeah.
Because Houston, the last couple of years, has won just playing insanely amazing defense and gain enough points to win. Not like Iowa State the first year at TJ where you didn't score 49 and that was good enough to win. Those were super stressful. But Houston has found a way to shoot.
Okay, next we'll do Alabama Duke.
I thought this was going to be closer.
I did too, but, I will say this. I need to give credit where credit is due. I thought Duke playing in the worst Power 5 conference in basketball this year. The ACC's got 17 teams. They brought in 4 for the tournament. Should have been 3, but we won't get into the West Virginia thing again. But they're proving me wrong. They look so much better than everyone they've played. I mean, Alabama scores on average near 85, 86 per game for the whole year. 65.
Well, they held them to 25 made field goals and 8 made three-pointers.
Well, look at this. Duke shot 56 shots, made 30, 54%. Bama shot 65, made 23 for 35.
Yeah.
That's the story of the game right there. Plus the three-point shots. Obviously, Duke was 6 for 13.
They were conservative with
their shots. Alabama's not. They shoot tons of threes, and they only hit 25%.
Yeah. Well, they only shot 32, which is
only
weird to say, but
I mean, the assists aren't crazy. The turnovers are pretty comparable.
Your free throws, you've got a few more towards Duke, but
you got out-rebounded by 11.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's very even across the board for Duke. Flagg has 16, Proctor has 17, Knupple has 21, 14, 9. I mean, hardly any bench points for Duke. And then
really good production.
Here's
from
the big thing for
five.
Bama. Look at Mark Sears. He's been such a rock star all year. 6 points, 6 assists, 2 for 12.
Yeah.
1 for 5 on threes. I mean, that's your guy that makes Alabama go.
Yep.
And he just didn't have it this game. Like I said, I go back, for local Iowans, we call it the Fred Hoiberg effect. When you just try to shoot people out of the building, you're not going to be able to do that every game. At some point, you're going to struggle and have to find ways to win another way, and Alabama couldn't do it. Plus, they don't play any defense.
I was going to say, Holloway, who had, really good game, he had, 20 in the first game? He has 5 in this game.
5 off the bench. Yep.
It's just totally different, completely opposite Alabama teams, it felt like. It's like they had such a high from the day before that with their shooting and the most threes in a game and all this and that. It just almost felt like there was this high.
They shot all their threes in the Sweet 16 game.
They crashed and couldn't figure out a way to climb back from it. So and Duke just has played. They played consistent. They just kept their foot on the gas. They hit easy shots. They worked them inside.
Yep.
They played the big side of their game. Yep. They didn't try and do anything. They didn't go crank up 43s.
Shot 13, hit 6. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they just played their game, and that's what you got to do when you're in those kind of games. You can't go and try and outshoot a team who shoots better than you.
Has there been a smoother transition from a Hall of Famer to the next coach than from Mike Krzyzewski to John Shire?
It's been pretty impressive. The first year, he was a little herky-jerky there early on.
This is his first season.
Yeah.
He was Coach K's assistant for 15 years.
Yeah, something like that.
And everyone knew he was the guy in waiting.
Yep.
But give the guy credit. He was patient, waited, and now he's on the brink of – he took Duke to another Final Four, and it's his team. It's not on Coach K's team. Mm-hmm. It's his team.
Mm-hmm. No, he's done a really good job with Duke and transitioning him over. I think really the difference is the first year it was still a lot of Coach K's players.
Sure. He helped recruit him, though,
yeah.
So it's not – anything nutty or anything
like
that.
No, but it's like some of them had still they just played for him. It was the year after, and so it was some of those guys left over from that team.
Yep.
It's different. Not that it was, a huge difference as far as probably the way the styles were and things like that, but it's still just not your coach, right? It's you're used to the guy you kind of always have played under, and so when a new guy comes in, he's going to have different ways of doing things, and you got to get used to it. And so when you're a
coach, think about it. Coach Sampson, 69 at Houston. Mm-hmm. You wonder. I mean, he still got so much fire and energy. Mm-hmm. You have to wonder when it does come time for Coach Sampson to retire and step away, how smooth will the transition be down at Houston? Yeah. So it's hard to replace legends.
Was it?
Syracuse has never been able to replace. I don't know what they're going to do to replace Coach Boeheim at Syracuse. Kansas, pretty good run. You went from Roy Williams to Bill Self. Pretty good there.
The one I always think of, and this isn't basketball, but who is the old Penn State football coach?
Oh, at Pedophile State? That was Joe Paterno.
Joe Paterno, that was it. I swear the guy was there forever.
Oh, he's there for like 50 plus years.
Yeah, and I just always remember him being on the sideline. You're like, when's that guy gonna die? Like,
well, he never wore a headset or anything.
Ever.
He called plays like when you were playing junior high football. If you were playing organized ball, if you were coming in, coach would give you the play. You'd run it out and tell the quarterback. Is how you did it. And
Yeah.
Coach Brown did it the same way. I've been doing this for 74 years. I don't think I need to change.
Yeah, it was funny to always watch those games, and you just say like, "Yep, there's the guy. There's Paterno.
There's the old guy."
Yep, but
All right, hon. Elite Eight on Sunday.
Okay, we're going to go to Tennessee and Houston.
I'll start this one. After a rock fight that Houston had with Purdue, Tennessee scores 15 points in the first half.
it was really bad.
And Houston got all the bad shooting out of them, and they still only scored 69. I thought they went off for 100 or 80. They held Tennessee to 50 the whole game.
Here's what they held Tennessee to: 5 for 29 at 3-pointers. They shot 17%
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Oh yeah. That is terrible.
Well, then...
And they went, I mean, it didn't get better on their field goals. They went 15 for 52. They still only shot 28% from field goals.
I mean, the only real big discrepancy that is in Tennessee's favor, they went 15 for 20 for the free throw line, and Houston was 4 for 4.
Mm-hmm. Just
They
didn't
didn't
go to
need
line.
free throws.
They didn't need free throws, but they also didn't have anybody that could guard their players. I mean, they just worked. They played the same game that they played against Purdue. Slow, steady. We're gonna beat you inside. We're gonna just work you down, make you tired.
Yep.
We're gonna win it in the paint, and that's what they did.
Nope. And look, Cryer came back, 17 points for LJ Cryer. Uzan only had 6. He's got to get more. He's got to get more points if they want to win in the Final Four. Sharp has 16. Tugler has 6. Roberts has 9. I mean, bench points were okay. Arsenault had 8. Francis had 4. Pretty typical there. But, yeah, defense.
This might have actually been the game that Robert sat, now that I think about it, for most of the first half. I don't think it was the first game. I think it was this game. I think I got them mixed up because this game was...
Roberts only had...
Yeah, he only had 15 minutes. That was this game. Well, he sat the whole first half. That's what happened.
But, I mean, look at their guard play. Their guard play dominated, and, I mean, one thing you can always count on for Houston, they've been really consistent on offense this year, but one thing with Coach Sampson's teams you can always count on is defense. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, they played some awesome defense.
Well, they definitely played defense. They had 16 fouls committed versus Tennessee's 9. So there's a reason Tennessee went to the line a lot.
Houston's being a lot more aggressive. Mm-hmm. So they were very efficient. And yeah, that's about it for me. I mean, that was just nice and efficient.
About the way the game. Well, I wanted it to go that way. I mean, I got Houston winning, but I wanted it to go that way. But it was a crazier first half than I ever expected it to be. I mean, Tennessee only scoring 15 was just astounding.
Yeah, and I'm sure they felt pretty good about beating Kentucky pretty significantly in the Sweet 16 round 2. So,
but yeah, when I was watching the game, the guy was like, it's bad when you're pulling up stats like this, and it was like the lowest scoring first half in a tournament, and it was back in 1980 something or 1960 something, and I was like, oof.
And that game was a 1 versus 16 that he was pulling up, not an Elite 8 match.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
last Elite 8 game.
Okay, Michigan State and Auburn.
Closer than what I expected, but honestly, I don't think the score entails how much Auburn was in control for almost the whole game. Mm-hmm. I mean, Michigan State had some free throws at the end. Coach Izzo, terrific coach, obviously. Another Elite 8 for Michigan State. But Auburn pretty much controlled it the whole way through.
They were really even, though. I mean, Michigan State was 22 for 64. Auburn was 26 for 61. Yep. From the 3-point, they were 7 for 25 for Auburn, 7 for 23 for Michigan State. 13 for 16 for free throws, and 11 for 20 for Auburn. So I mean, really, they were pretty fairly matched as far as their shooting and things like that. But
yeah, Janai Broom controlled this game. 25 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists.
Wait, he had 14 rebounds?
14 rebounds.
Golly, he had almost half.
Numbers. Yeah.
He had almost half of their rebounds.
10 for 13 overall, 2 for 2 for three-pointers, and 3 for 5 for his free throws. Yeah, I mean, honestly, overall the game is pretty even, but you can't stop the big guy. I mean, the only thing that could have hurt Auburn in the end was that they were 11 for 20 from the free throw line.
Yep.
That's the big thing. And when you want to win a championship, I don't care if it's a conference tournament championship, Maui, those Thanksgiving weekend tournaments, or a national championship, you got to be able to you got to be able to make your free throws.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, if you can't make your free throws, it can come back and bite you in the rear end.
Yep.
So,
well, it still might. We'll see how they play the next game.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meg, give us those Final Four matchups.
Okay, so Final Four matchups, which I saw are all 1 seed.
Yeah.
Is that common?
No. The tournament's been going on for decades, and it's only the second time ever in Final Four history that we get all 4 1 seeds. Last time it happened was 2008. You had Kansas. Let me think about this. You had Kansas, UCLA, Memphis, North Carolina. And that, I want to talk about free throws here. The national championship was Kansas versus Memphis. Coach Calipari was at Memphis.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Derrick Rose was awesome. He was a point guard. Memphis, coming into the tournament, they were the worst free throw shooting team in the country. But it didn't matter because you had Derrick Rose and the other accompaniment of players. Memphis should have been the national champions in 2008. They miss 3 front ends of free throws. Kansas, Mario Chalmers, Kansas is down 3, shoots a three-pointer after a missed free throw that would have put them up 4, shoots a three-pointer with no time left, hits it, sends it to overtime, Kansas wins the ball game. So you talk about heartbreak and the need to be able to make your free throws. That's the game I always come back to right there. And that was one of the most fun championships, and the Big 12 one, which is a good thing. But, yeah, Coach Calipari goes on to Kentucky, and Memphis has never been the same since.
Yeah, they definitely didn't perform this very well this year, but
Well, Penny Hardaway, I don't know. I just don't trust Penny whatsoever. All right, hon.
Okay, so we have Florida, Auburn. I almost said Alabama.
Don't
Auburn.
tell Auburn fans that. SEC matchup.
Did you guys have? And who does Silas have? Did you guys? He texted.
Sal says Florida because he had Florida winning
right,
everything. Yeah. I think he wants Auburn.
Yeah, because I think
he wants Auburn, Houston, but he has like Duke, Florida, or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is funny because
he
basically wants the opposite of what he picked. So I don't know why.
Right, because he says, I'll take Duke and Auburn, but he wants Duke to win it all. Houston, Florida, it's either way he is right and wins the Big 12 wins or whatever.
I mean, that's what we want, the Big 12 to win. So we want Houston as local. And I picked Houston to win. You picked Houston to win. The only one that did, and Megan did too. Only one that picked opposite of our group was Silas, who picked Florida, which it's not a bad pick, obviously. This game, to me, looks like at the stats overall, super evenly matched. Florida out rebounds Auburn by 5 overall. Offensive rebounds, a little bit of a discrepancy. Nothing nutty or anything like that. So, honestly, for me, you look at how well, what it comes down to, in my opinion, you look at how well Florida shot free throws during their run, their first 4 games of the tournament, and how Auburn, to a certain extent, has struggled. Is that what it comes down to? It's a close game. You want to pick Walter Clayton to go up and hit those free throws over some of the guards for Auburn.
I mean, if I'm looking at a bracket of who do I want to match up with, okay, if I'm Houston, okay, you're playing Duke terribly, but if I'm Houston, I would rather prefer to match up against Auburn.
Oh, 100%. You don't want those
Florida.
Guards against Florida.
So
they could win it, but better matchup.
Preferably, I'm going Auburn as far as like it, on my other side of the bracket. I want Houston to win. So I would say I want Auburn, but it really comes down to, can you guard the guards? I mean, Florida's got a lot of pace. Yep.
How long can you do that with how many good guards they have?
Yep. No, I don't know. This does look like a. I think it could either be a close game or it's going to be like a blowout in favor of Florida.
I kind of get the same feeling too. So, I don't think Auburn runs away with it.
No.
Unless Florida, they suddenly come back down to earth a little bit as far as their guard play.
If they have like a terribly bad shooting day,
or
maybe
even average.
Yeah.
Because against Tech, they shot lights out, especially that 12-0 run. They're 4 for 4 from 3. If they come down just a little bit, Auburn's got a chance. But I don't think Auburn runs away with it. They can win a close one. So can Florida.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be a blowout, it's going to be Florida, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
For this one, for me, I've got, they're all 1 seeds. I mean, it's the best of the best playing for a championship. We don't get that very often.
It is pretty fun to have it all be 1. Although it would have been pretty fun to have like Michigan State in there, and then you have the Big
Tech.
4.
Get Tech in there.
Well, but you have the Big 4 because you would have, but you'd have ACC, you'd have Big 10, you'd have Big 12, and you'd have SEC.
Yeah, all 4.
So,
the only one you're missing is the Big East for the Power 5.
Yeah, but that would have been kind of cool too to have like all major 4.
The only one not represented is, as far as everyone thinks of, everyone tends to forget about the Big East, which, I mean, they don't have football either, so that's why people tend to forget. But the only one you're missing is the Big 10.
Yep.
So they had a pretty good year as far as the tournament goes. But for me, I've got Florida. They're the hottest team right now. Now they got a week off roughly before they play at 5 o'clock on Saturday. So we'll see what happens. I mean, all these teams have. The team with the worst amount of wins is Auburn with 32. Everybody else 35, 34, 34. All these teams are legendary teams for their schools.
Yep.
But I got Florida just based on their guard play and their ability to consistently hit free throws. That's why I've got Florida.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I got Florida too. I'd like to see Auburn win, but
Same here. I'll be cheering for Auburn.
I think if Auburn wins, it has to be a slow-paced game, and they have to keep Florida off the rebounds. I mean, they've got to control.
And stop those guards.
Yeah.
Megan, who you got?
I would pick Florida.
Okay.
I like the state of Florida, and I think their mascot's pretty cool with the
gator. You got the old gator chomp.
Yeah. Definitely would pick that one just because of looks.
Do you like their colors? Auburn's gonna be wearing the home whites, and Florida's gonna be wearing the blues.
I'm not a fan of teams with orange. Like all orange.
Well,
like
good.
Auburn.
We've got
Florida
two
and
teams
Auburn
with
both
all
have
orange.
orange in them there a little bit.
Got two
but this
teams.
is like orange. Like the whole thing. Like I look at it and it's just all orange. So I'm like, No,
okay.
not great.
All right. Last Final Four match.
Okay, we have Houston and Duke.
This is the most even matchup right here. I think the guards are pretty even. How well can Juwan Roberts and Tugler handle Cooper Flagg?
Mm-hmm. I think if they outbody Flagg is a young player. He's a
19.
freshman, right?
Yep.
And so get some of these older guys that kind of can get in your head.
So those grizzled veterans like Roberts.
I think if you get a guy like that who plays smart, gets Flagg a little out of his head, a little off his game, something like that.
Yep.
I think you have a chance of winning here.
I think Houston wins this one. They know how to win in a high-scoring game. They know how to win in a low-scoring game.
Yep.
They're a lot more veteran than Duke is. And I think when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, you're 1 win away from going to the national championship game. I like to take the seasoned veteran over the young upstarts.
Well, because you just the nerves involved with it, and I'm not saying that the veteran guys aren't going to have that, but they know how to control those nerves, and they know how to focus them and make them better in play. When you have young guys, they get the nerves, they get a little anxious, they get a little antsy early on. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke goes like 0 for 5 right out the gate, something like that for shooting. And Houston goes like 3 for 6 or something like that.
Yep.
So Houston goes up by 6 or 8 right away. Duke's got to take a timeout and just calm down, just because that anticipation, that excitement right out the gate.
Yep.
It does affect young guys. The older guys kind of know how to handle that and do that. I mean, Cryer's been in this situation. Roberts has been in this situation.
Well, here's the interesting thing. LJ Cryer beat Coach Sampson in Houston in the Final Four in 2019, to go to the national championship where they beat Drew Timme and Gonzaga.
Yep.
So now
I forgot Timmy was on that team.
Drew Timmy.
Oh, man, he was a good one.
Great mustache. But I got Coach Sampson in Houston. They know how to win both ways.
Yep.
Duke has an advantage when it comes to three-point shooting by about a couple more than Houston per game, but it comes down to defense. I'm taking defense wins championships, and I got Coach Sampson in Houston.
Yep, same. I mean, I picked him to win it all, so
Megan?
I'm sticking with him.
Houston and Duke.
Do Houston, yeah. I picked it to win them all. I'll just pick them and stay with them. So now if we end up with Houston versus Florida, how evenly matched?
Huge discrepancies on both sides.
Yeah.
Florida's got way better guard play than Houston does. And they go 8 or 9 deep on their bench.
Yep.
Houston only goes about 7.
Yeah, I
So they
think
get foul trouble. That's the big thing
I was
for
going to say,
Houston is foul trouble.
if Houston stays out of foul trouble, but I think I think early on they maintain a close game.
Yep.
But it's going to come down to, are you in foul trouble late game? And then how tired are you guys? Because if it comes down to them going 8 or 9 deep, Houston's got, like, let's say Roberts is in foul trouble again. You got
Tugler's in foul trouble. Yeah, so Arsenal's you're trying to do it with 4 guards.
It's going to hurt. I mean, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And so then late game, I think Florida would pull away with it. So unfortunately, I think Florida wins that game.
Yeah.
Now, if Houston stays out of foul trouble, they maintain the boards. They get a little physical with Florida. They knock them off their groove a little bit as far as that. Maybe they win by 2 or 4 points. Again,
We're not saying Houston can't win this game.
No, I'm not saying they can't, but I think it's a close game. I think it's very similar to the Florida Auburn one. Auburn can win it, but it's not going to be a blowout in Auburn's favor. No. If it's a blowout, it's going to be in Florida's favor against either one of these teams.
I agree.
Okay.
Duke, it's a lot more evenly matched. Let's say we get Duke and Florida.
Yeah, so what's your
a lot more even.
Your top evenly matched
so
game?
Most even matched game I would say is Houston Auburn, and you got Florida and Duke. Those are your two best matchup situations in it. If you go like Duke
and Auburn wouldn't be terrible either as far as matching up necessarily either, because Janai Broom going up against Cooper would be a pretty good matchup. Here's the thing.
There's not a bad matchup.
There's not a bad matchup either way. Whoever wins, it's not a bad matchup.
No.
It's not like where you had San Diego State going to play UConn. I didn't even watch that.
No, I didn't watch that game either.
It was like, now, if it was my team, I would. And I kept an eye on it, but who cares?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, in the end, we want the best of the best playing for an Elite Eight. Listen, whether that was Wichita State when they made a run, or the next year when they were 37-0, and they made it to the Sweet 16. We want the best of the best in the end, whether that's a 1 playing a 4 or a 1 playing a 1. It doesn't matter. But here's the thing. This tournament has been bereft of huge, tremendous upsets. We had Drake in Missouri. Colorado State won their first round game, and then that was kind of about it.
Yep, that was about it. There wasn't McNeese, I think, was the other one, but people somewhat expected that a little bit since they were favored. But
still,
but it was just one of those things where it's like there wasn't a big major upset. There wasn't like that
huge
that
run by
team.
Cinderella.
Yeah,
no Cinderella this year.
Not really. You had that first round, and you're like, oh, they have a chance to maybe do something here.
Got our Drake win, which is great.
Yep, but it wasn't a lot of a 14 team, 14 seed or 15 seed
13s,
getting to the Sweet 16.
A 12 seed,
yeah, the 12 seed usually seems to be the
But in the end, what my point is that we, as sports fans, especially for March Madness, we want for the Elite Eight, the Final Four, the national title, we want the best of the best. Whether that's a 4 seed who we know kind of got underseeded and can really make a run and win the whole thing, but in the end, not really many people care unless you're a fan of that team.
Yep.
If a 9 seed makes it all the way.
I was going to say,
or an 11.
I'm looking forward to the end of this tournament. I think it's going to be fun. I think Final Four is going to be a good time. I think the championship game is going to be a good time. I think this is probably going to be one of the most watched kind of endings to the tournament across all fan bases.
I think, honestly, we could have 3 really close games.
Yep.
We could be talking about how it could be the best national championship possibly ever. It could be billed as that, especially if you get an Auburn, Houston. Like I said, even if you get a Duke, Florida, or there's no bad matchups at all. But I've seen a lot of great national championships, but the one that sticks out most recently is that the last one that Coach Wright had at Villanova.
Yep.
Where, Marcus Page from Marion, Iowa, hits that crazy shot, that three to tie it up, where he gets stuck up in the air, kind of has to twist around and shoot it before his feet hit the ground for the travel, hits the three. Coach Wright calls the timeout, and then Chris Jenkins, buzzer goes off, ball's in the air, drops it. Villanova wins. Great game.
Yep.
Like I said, I hope we get another one just like that. All the drama.
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, can't wait.
We good? Okay, we good?
We're good.
Wrap it up.
Thank you for joining us for another Talking Lost podcast. Sorry it was Silas.
It was rough, yeah.
Silas non-existent. I don't know.
Between Silas not being here and the audio visual and Zach's mic is all echoey, I think it's because he's not close enough to his mouth. And
I'm really loud, so you always tell me to talk lower,
and then
but I
Mr.
can't.
Muffin having
Mr.
very
Muffin is
little input tonight.
absent,
I mean,
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
Real. Not invited back,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah.
one
We'll
and
see.
only time we'll see him here. Potentially.
You never know.
Maybe.
Hopefully, you
We'll
never
see.
know. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Talking Lost. Like,
Comment,
share,
subscribe.
stay
Stay
talking.
talking.